We just keep going. We keep praying. We keep doing our acts in the divine will. Okay? We keep doing what God has instructed us to do, knowing that I might feel this way, but I know that I'm doing what God has told me to do, regardless of my feelings. Another day we might feel as high as a kite. And here's another danger in our journey to union with God. Thinking that just because we feel as high as a kite and walking on clouds, that we are close to God. This is a phenomenal deception that we have to be really, really careful of. And I say this because I have so many people talking to me with spiritual direction and things. And it's like, oh, I feel so close to God because of blah, blah, blah. Danger. Danger. You cannot say you're close to God because of what you feel. You are close to God based upon the union you have with Him and the fruit you produce. Okay? And it's almost impossible for us to actually say where we are in our relationship with God unless God reveals it, like He has done with saints like Padre Pio and Saint Faustina and other saints of the mystical life, where God revealed to them that they were in a state of spiritual betrothal, they were in a state of mystical marriage, they were in a state of beatitude. He revealed it to them. So I caution you on judging your relationship with God based upon any experience, positive or negative. Okay? And Sister Leslie Lund comments on this in Journey to Union with God by Teresa of Avila, with Teresa of Avila, where she talks about our prayer time, our prayer life being based upon pain or pleasure. What about our prayer life being fantastic when it's just dry, barren desert? Which is what she says. She actually encourages us to cultivate a healthy dryness in prayer. And you're going to have to pass through this in the divine will. You're going to wake up one morning and you will not want to do your prevenient act. You will not want to do your rounds in the divine will. It will feel dry as a bone. That is when you're cultivating true virtue. That is when your soul is actually growing in its union with God. A healthy dryness. A dryness where when you sit to contemplate the mystery of God, 30 seconds after sitting down, you're bored. That is healthy if you persevere in that dryness. Okay? It's healthy. It's learning that God is in the dryness. Like Mother Teresa, God was in the darkness. Learn that God is in the purgation that you are experiencing. Learn that God is in the non-experience. Learn that God is in the suffering, the trial, the temptation. God is present in all of it. But we've got to get away from this idea that that it's the pleasure principle that determines my relationship with God. We've got to break that concept. It's a very bad attachment to emotion in our spiritual lives. To feeling, yeah? It's a very bad attachment. I'm not saying that emotion is bad. I'm saying that the attachment is bad. All right? The attachment. Because God has elevated you to an eternal mode, which means every act you do affects all creatures of all ages in a positive way. All right? Let me just read a few more things out from Father Joseph here, just to build on this. To Louisa, Jesus reveals that in the eternal mode of the divine will model, which constitutes God's single act, or the one eternal point of God's operation, the divine will is continuously engaged within the human soul's finite activity. So you're doing finite activities, but God's bilocation in the soul is turning it into an infinite activity. God absorbs and elevates the soul's actions, whereby it exerts an eternal, continuous, and concomitant influence in the lives and acts of all creatures. Don't notice that. All creatures. Not just you. All creatures. What you are doing in the divine will is impacting every creature from the creation of the world to the end of the world. Every creature. Okay? This is like what St. Paul writes in Romans chapter 8. The whole creation awaits the revelation of the sons of God. Creation is groaning in the pangs of birth, awaiting you to be revealed. All right? Because you are having an impact on the entire creation. You are renewing the earth with your acts in the divine will. Forget governments, forget climate activists. They're not doing a shred of thing. They're not doing anything. Okay? You are the ones who are renewing creation with your acts. You are the ones who are renewing the church with your acts. Let me just finish this paragraph. Although in the eternal mode of prayer and action, the soul internalizes and impacts the lives of all creatures, while offering God sacrifices on their behalf. You offer sacrifices on behalf of all creatures. The direct transforming effect of this impact in the lives of the souls is determined by their free response. Okay. Got all that? Great. Just want to see, I have a bookmark on something in Louisa's writings. Bear with me. Oh, it's further back. Further back. Chapter 3. Here it is. Okay. So this is about the John of the Cross commenting on the progression of the soul in the interior life. Okay. But first, let me just read from Louisa, Volume 14, March the 10th, 1922. My daughter, everything that one does in my will is like a sun, as in the star in the sky, that diffuses for the good of all. As one prays in my will, offering my blood, my pains, my wounds. These convert into as many rays of light, for as many times that they are offered, which diffuse for the good of all. They descend rapidly into the deepest prison of purgatory, turning pains and darkness into light. Indeed, these prayers may impact all souls equally. And if they are not impacted equally, it can never be on the part of the one who gives, but on the part of the ones who receive according to their dispositions. So when you do an act in the divine will, that act is going to impact all souls of all time and all creatures. The efficacy of the act is not dependent upon you, because you're doing your act in the divine will, and it's in God's eternal operation. The efficacy of the act is based upon the recipient of the grace of the act, which is the soul who's receiving it. I hope that makes sense. Any questions at this point in time? If you've got any questions, just unmute and fire away. Anita, well done. Oh, Mary Hilton beat you to it, Anita. Mary, go for it, sorry.